Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course and the Season 22 finale of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series presented by Performa Texas Elite Graphics. I'm Greg Ginsburg, and joining me in the commentary booth on this very special night is a very special person, Larry Lefty McLeod. And lest we forget the two Johns, Jonathan Grabowski and John Robertson, in the virtual production truck, bringing you all the best camera angles and action that Apex Racing TV is known for. So 2 weeks ago, the high speeds and the harrowing corners of Mosport gave us some big and maybe not so big shakeups in both the Pro and the AM championships as we come into our final round. And as our MX-5 drivers contested both rounds 7 and 8, it was doubly important 2 weeks ago at Mosport. And so as we descend upon Steam Corners Road tonight in Les Griebling's baby, a track that was designed to be difficult, Larry, what kind of madness should we be looking for tonight?
All the madness. Hey, Greg, I am so excited for lots of madness because it's our finale. This is it. This is the culmination of the season. We're going to be handing out some championships tonight. And I would say that our classes are hotly contested. And so it's going to come down to performances here tonight. I think in both Pro and Am, this could be a good time.
Yeah, Larry, like we're watching Tom Rathke right here, just absolutely throwing the car around Mid-Ohio. I mean, this is a track where your hands are constantly moving. The corners go from on camber to off camber while you're going downhill. I mean, it is one of those tracks that really keeps you on your toes. And, you know, as opposed to Mosport last week or 2 weeks ago, where there was a lot of flow, a lot of speed, but not necessarily any very high braking corners or heavy braking corners, threshold braking corners for drivers to make a pass. There is at least one here, and that is going into turn 4 over by China Beach. And there are definitely some opportunities, but the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course is a very narrow piece of asphalt, and it is, you know, it's one of those tracks where, you know, it may take you a couple of corners to set somebody up to drive them offline and make the pass. And, you know, now as we're getting into round 9, you know, these drivers, they've got a lot of experience racing around one another. They've got that experience. They know their competitors' strengths. They know some of their weaknesses. Some of these competitors don't have any weaknesses, but it's going to be, as we've said here, you know, this is it. We're going to see who comes away with the season 22 championship. And so let's do this, Larry. Why don't we turn things over to Kevin Ford? He's going to give us tonight's track guide of the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.
Welcome, everyone, to the beautiful Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. 2.25 miles is what it takes to get around this place. 13 turns of lots of excitement. As we get ready to head up the front straightaway here, you'll notice our pit area to the left. Not a lot of grandstands here as we cross the stripe and head up towards turn 1. Very fast sweeping left-hander here as we go underneath the bridge and set up our exit for this uphill straightaway. This will take us up to what's known as the keyhole, a very tight right-hander, dropping right-hander as it's off camber coming out of the exit of this turn here. We're going to get a nice wide track out entrance here so we can get right down to that apex and get that power down coming up off of the corner here. This is the longest straightaway here at Mid-Ohio. You'll see a lot of overtaking happening here, certainly coming down this back stretch and into what's known as China Beach. This is where a lot of action happens. This is probably the most popular overtaking spot here at Mid-Ohio. Down into turn 4, we'll track back right, set up our entry into 5 here, right over this blind crest through the apex, down a little short chute here into turn 6. We'll come back to the right and set up our entry underneath the Honda Bridge, up through 7, through the gears through 8 now we'll come into the entry to Thunder Valley here. A blind entry and a blind exit as we track out left out of 9, down underneath the bridge here through the right-hander of turn 10. This will bring us into another blind entry here. Around 11, then up into the famous carousel here at Mid-Ohio. Turn 12, very difficult turn to get right. You want to get that exit nice and strong through this apex out of 13 to bring you back up to the front straightaway here and across the stripe. There you go. There's your track guide for the beautiful Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Thank you for being with us.
All right, and thank you so much to Kevin Ford for tonight's final track guide of season number 22. And now, one of the things, Larry, that Mr. Ford did not tell our viewers is that although he was giving us a traditional lap of the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course from turn 1 in the that Cooper Tire Bridge all the way back around out of the carousel through turn 13 and onto the front straight there. A little bit different, much like the pro races at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. We are going to be starting tonight's race on the main straight. You can see there as we're watching Mike Dam kick off qualifying right past that little bend there. There's a big starter stand, what is known as turn 3 at Mid-Ohio, and that is where our drivers will get the green flag to start tonight's race, and they'll get the checkered flag at the traditional point there on that short little straight coming out of the carousel. But as you saw there with Kevin's track guide, Larry, it is definitely a challenging course. There were a number of places, and a matter of fact, I think as he was going up and over Madness over at turn 5, I think I saw him dial in like 3 extra corrections there just to get over the top of the hill. And imagine doing that with I don't know, somewhere around 25 or so other drivers all around you.
Yes, it definitely has some craziness to it. But I'm interested to see how this kind of qualifying goes, to see who can avoid the 1Xs, get down the flyer. Passing can be done around this place, but I don't think you want to be starting mid-pack around here. I think because the potential for big pile-ups, you know, into the quote-unquote turn 1, meaning the pseudo turn 1, the turn 4 there
turn
at
4,
the end of our green flag. Yeah, I think because of the potential for issues there going into that section, it is somewhat important to be kind of ahead of the, I don't have to insult anybody, but ahead of the fray.
Yes.
Should there be any madness in madness, you want to make sure that you are in front of it and not behind it.
Make sure you're not in working man's country, as they like to say.
And even if you don't get taken out, it's going to create gaps that are going to be tough to overcome.
Yeah.
The front of the field around here moves pretty fast.
Yeah, I mean, and it's something we see quite a bit, and it's not just an issue on the very first lap, but as drivers get worn down over the 60-minute battle, that one particular corner, turn 4, you're dropping downhill into the turn-in point, and then it rises back up past the apex. What ends up happening is you get a lot of drivers that will have the rear end walk around on them. They'll go around, and the problem is that it's somewhat blind past the apex there, and so you have a lot of drivers that will come through the corner. They should hopefully have that yellow flag flashing on their screens, or if they've got a if they've got a crew chief telling them that there's a yellow flag there in the corner. But a lot of times there'll just be a stack up of cars just with about a 40-45% track blockage right in front of them as they come through the corner. So it's something definitely to look for. So here as
No, I was going to say, the other thing to think about around this place that we had the last time we ran here, we had a couple of folks struggle on fuel loads. So it'll be interesting to see if everybody can get the right fuel load when it comes time. Because there's something about, perhaps. But it's tough to predict around here. The other is we had some folks who, we had some incidents, not even at the beginning, but we did have sort of at mid-race and late-race incidents that really caused big shakeups, and some even caused post-race penalties. So going to be important tonight, I think, to be clean early, middle, and often, all the way through the end to stay clean, because you never know how it's going to shuffle out should somebody else take on a penalty.
Yeah, without a doubt. And we saw that 2 weeks ago at Mosport as well at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. We'll talk about that in just a second here. But as you're taking a look at the screen right now, our drivers have started qualifying. Matter of fact, we're about 6 minutes and 20 seconds into the 15-minute qualifying session here. We give our drivers 15 minutes in which to set that fast lap and set the grid for tonight's race. And they have the track all by themselves for 4 flying laps. We give them four chances to set that fast lap over that 15 minutes. And you can see now Robert Hartley, who we're tracking on track as he comes right through madness, is your provisional pole sitter right now with 2 flying laps in the books with a 136.33 for Orion Racing. Chris Thorman, David Payton, your second and third fastest drivers. Now, as you take a look at that timing pylon on the left-hand side of your screen, you'll notice some different colors. Our pro category drivers, they've got the red next to the positions where they are in course. And if you take a look at their cars, like Robert Hartley's teammate Mike Dam, who just sets the second fastest lap of the race, the pro category drivers will have the red mirrors. They'll have red number boards as well. And our not our novice, but our AM category drivers, not novices, like Bobby Childs here. Well, he's a novice. Bobby Childs and our AM category drivers, green mirrors, green number boards as well. And they also have an AM category sticker on the or decal on the rear bumper as well, so you can tell them apart. And so right now, Robert Hartley is your provisional pole sitter with a 136.24, and Bobby Childs, no amateur. He is your fastest of the AM category at the moment with a 137.131, a whole 0.006 of a second faster than the Craney Customs driver, Jeffrey Cranston. So, Larry, let's do this while we've got a tiny bit of time. Let's take a look at 2 weeks ago at Mosport, where we had round 7 and round 8. And we'll start off with our AM category, because I want to get through this because I think we're going to have a guest in the booth prior to the race. Mike Taylor from Frito Sport Racing took the win in race number 1 of the evening, round number 7. At Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Nick Parsono's second, Greg Brockway finished third. So Frito Sport first and third. John Casey with a great finish started 8th and came to finish in 4th, just off the podium in the 046 machine. And then Eric Kleister, I love, just because I want to say Scooterita Tartaruga tonight. Eric Kleister finishing 5th in that first race. And then in the second race, Mike Taylor runs the table. He takes home the win for round number 8 from Frito Sport Racing. Steve Daniel from SKKJ Racing, he comes home in second. Then we had Paul Carey finish on the last step of the podium in the Carey Racing number 141 machine. Nick Parsono finished just off the podium. David Payne finishing in 5th. And so let's take a look at the point standings now in the AM category as we come into our final race of the season. Mike Taylor, currently your points leader, 9-point advantage over Steve Daniel from SKKJ. Then we've got Greg Brockway, our second Frito Sport Racing driver, in the top 3. And Greg finished 3rd in the championship last season. I'm sure he's looking to maybe move up just a little bit. He's only 4 points back from Steve Daniel. Then we've got David Payne, and we've got Jeff Cranston out of Craney Customs. Now the thing is with Jeff was sitting 2nd in the championship coming into the round at Mosport. Jeffrey Cranston was not at Mosport, and that drops him now all the way back to 5th in the championship. And Eric Kleister from Scooterita Tartaruga is sitting in 6th in the championship. All right, let's take a look at the pros. And Mike Dam took the win in race number 1 for Orion Racing over Seamless Racing's John Allen, who was our points leader coming into the evening 2 weeks ago. Robert Hartley, who was our season 21 champion, came home in 3rd. Then we had the 2 D2D E-Racing drivers, Chris Thorman and Brennan Horn, finishing 4th and 5th in race number 1. Now Travis Schwenke, who started 4th, had a big off early on in that race, stuck him all the way towards the back of the field. He worked his way back up, and I believe at the end of race 1, he was up to about 12th position, which made things a heck of a lot easier for him when we went into our second race of the evening, where Travis took the win for Orion Racing, with Brennan Horn from D2D finishing 2nd. John Allen from Seamless Racing coming home in 3rd on seemingly no tires and very little gas. Delta Sports' Nathan Nicholson finished 4th, and Edgar Sanchinelli from Frito Sport Racing, who was our AM category champion last season, he came home in 5th. And so let's take a look at the point standings now in Pro, where John Allen from Seamless Racing has a 9-point advantage right now over last season's champion, Robert Hartley from Orion Racing. Then we've got Brennan Horn. Brennan is currently sitting 20 points back from Hartley in 3rd. Travis Schwenke, and you have to wonder with Travis if he had finished a little bit better in that first race, what could have been. He was our 2nd place finisher last season, currently sitting 4th in the championship, 32 points out of the lead. Chris Thorman from D2D E-Racing currently sitting 5th. And you can see, and maybe a little bit of a surprise also, Mike Dam, who finished 3rd in the championship last season for Orion Racing, currently sitting in 6th.
So interesting developments as we're watching, as you're going through all those standings and things, is John Allen with about 2 minutes left of qualifying here. Look at that, sitting currently in 8th in class, and what is that, about 10th overall?
10th overall, yeah.
And that last lap was no good. You saw him spinning there through the carousel. Look at the back end of this car coming. That's going to ruin his last lap of qualifying. John Allen is going to start this race no higher than 10th overall in this grid. That is huge coming into this round.
And John was showing a lot of problems in practice as well. That he was just tossing the car around. Now, John was our fastest driver during the week in practice, and managed to put in, I believe, a 136.3 as his fastest lap time. But and Mid-Ohio in real life is his home track. I mean, this is the track where
he's competed there. Yeah.
And yeah, that's a huge surprise to see him having those kinds of issues here this evening.
Yeah, and so looking at the way the point standings work, is it really is in both the Pro and AM. It's going to come down to drops. It's going to come down to who can replace a drop tonight. So you look at John Allen, for example, currently dropping a 4th place from the opening round at Road America and a 4th place from Laguna Seca round 5. Everything else is higher than that. 1st, 2nd, 3rds he has. So basically, if he gets into the 3rd, there's no change for him. He needs a 1st and 2nd to start picking up points. In the case of Rob Hartley, who's chasing him, Rob's sitting on a bunch of 2nds, a couple of 1sts, and a couple more 3rds in that order. So if he can get a 1st to 2nd, he starts adding to his point total, could close the gap to John Allen for the overall lead there in Pro. AM, similar story, but bigger opportunities if you look at those. looking at Steve Daniel, for example, I believe is sitting on a 9th place from Mosport last time out. Anything higher than a 9th, and he's moving up the ladder. If he can somehow come away with the 1st or 2nd in class, big points available to him. But Mike Taylor, currently points leader, his worst finish currently counting is a Laguna Seca 5th place. So Mike Taylor, anything higher than a 5th, and he's picking up points. So those are sort of the positions we're looking at between these guys. For John Allen and for Rob Hartley, it's 1st and 2nd. And for Taylor and Steve Daniel, it's going to probably be anything in the top 4. Could really shuffle things up.
All right, so John Allen now working what will be his final flying lap as we're just about at that 15-minute mark. Yeah, and I don't think he's far enough along that that lap is going to get finished. And there you go. He checks out. John Allen, he's going to have a very difficult road ahead as he is going to be starting 10th overall tonight, 8th in pro.
Be curious if he makes a setup change before the race and maybe takes some of the looseness out or just goes with it. We'll have to wait and see. It could be exciting.
All right, so let's take a look, Larry. Here is your starting order. I'll take, if you want, I'll take the first 10. If you take the second, starting on the, or somewhere around the top 10, starting on pole tonight with a qualifying time of 1:36.238, Robert Hartley from Orion Racing. His teammate, Mike Dam, only 21 thousandths of a second off pole. He's going to start on the outside of row number 1. Chris Thorman from D2D E-Racing. He's going to start 3rd with Greg Mack from Team Esport Racer, starting in 4th. David Payton from D2D. He's going to start 5th tonight with Jeffrey Cranston, our AM category pole sitter. He starts on the outside of row number 3. Brennan Horan from D2D. He's going to start 7th tonight with Tom Rathke from Granite State Racing, starting in 8th. And then we've got Bobby Childs. He's no amateur. From D2D E-Racing. He's going to start 9th tonight. And then John Allen, he is going to start in 10th.
All right, on the 11th row, you got Edgar Sancinelli on the inside with the Frito Sport Racing entry, alongside Scuderia Tartaruga, Eric Kleister on the 12th spot there on the outside of row 6. On row 7, you've got Greg Brockway, the teammate to Edgar, right up in front of him from Frito Sport Racing. Alongside him is going to be one of our competitors here looking for a win here. Would help him a lot. Steve Daniel, SKKJ Racing. On row 8, it's going to be David Payne on the inside. He could play spoiler tonight. He's also currently 4th in the points. He'll be alongside John Casey in 046 Racing. On the next row, you got Paul Carey on the inside in Carey Racing, alongside Robert Brist from RFC Racing. And on row 10, you got Pratchik Preventis from Frito Sport Racing, alongside Mike Key in the last of our Frito Sport Racing entries.
All right, and so you can see now our drivers all lined up. They're lined up going into the carousel, and as we mentioned, we're not going to be taking the start on that small front straight. We're going to be taking it on the longer back straight. And here's where, Larry, we get to watch the the little hat dance here as our drivers have to swap positions from left to right because the pole sitter wants to be on the inside going into turn number 4, and that is on the
they should do it
right
SCCA
side.
style and let the pole sitter decide, because frankly, I wouldn't be too opposed to being on the outside.
Being on the outside, and that way you've got you're all set up to go into into madness at turn 5, and that is actually one of the things that we'll have to watch later. The last couple of races we've seen here from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, you know, we talk about that heavy threshold braking and heading down into turn 4 over by China Beach. And you know, it's seemingly the better place to pass is not to be on the inside there, but to be on the outside. And that way you've got the line going up the hill going into turn 5.
Yeah, it's a lot in a way like you and I called races at Sonoma a couple of years back. Same concept. The car on the outside gets the inside for the second corner. Often that's the advantage to be in. At that race, it was pole sitter's choice, inside or outside lane. In this case, it looks like we're going to go back to Hartley being on the inside. Dam's going to stay on the outside.
All right, as they come out of the keyhole, and of course the pace car has already given up the field, we do have a real-life starter, and the start zone, Larry, starts at the first crossover road right there. So if Robert Hartley wants to start accelerating, he can as they come down and they are going to be waiting now for that green flag, and the green flag is now in the air, and we are racing here from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, as there's still a huge gap between our two lanes, but Robert Hartley, he shifts over all the way to driver's left to take that traditional line in, and right behind him, it's going to be Mike Dam and Chris Thorman from D2D E-Racing. Dam slots in the second, and Thorman, great move there by Greg Mack to cut across David Payton. He's going to be in fourth, and then we've got Brennan Horn, then Jeff Cranston, Bobby Childs, John Allen. Bobby Childs making up a position, Jeffrey Cranston losing a position, and now Bobby Childs sneaking past Jeffrey Cranston to move Cranston now back into second in AM, and he gives up another position overall to John Allen, who's already up 2 spots. But our leader, Robert Hartley, followed by Mike Dam, starting to make their way through that high-speed turn 11 into the carousel for the very first time.
Yeah, John Allen hitching his wagon to the Bobby Childs horse up there in front of him and kind of pulling him way through, as those two now are trailing Brennan Horn. So those guys make us a good move. It's Jeff Cranston, though, the one who gets shuffled back in this mix. So, again, he could play a bit of a spoiler. I say spoiler in this battle because he has currently two of the DNSs in his points total. He can only end up with one of those as drops. So, going to be tough for him to take over a championship. He may be able to move up a little bit, but he could play a bigger role in the spoiler out here, considering he's usually one of the fast ones, but Bobby Childs, another one who could play spoiler. So interesting tonight as we'll be watching guys like Steve Daniel to see where he can go, and we'll see if he can come away with an AM championship here tonight.
There you go, is John Allen battling with Bobby Childs as they were door-to-door coming through the keyhole. And as they come out, it looks like now Bobby Childs has the advantage on the 101 machine, at least for the moment. We'll see what happens when they come down into turn 4, as they are still side by side. Again, John Allen to the outside there might have the advantage going up the hill, but Childs, by turning in very late, might have been able to hold the 101 car off. But no, they are still door-to-door as they roll down the hill and head into the S's. But good defensive positioning there by Bobby Childs very early on in this race. The question is whether or not he's going to be able to continue to do that, as he's running as a good wingman for the moment here on his pro teammate Brendan Horn.
Yeah, Bobby's always a really good teammate, whether it's in class or not. As you can see there by the green mirrors on Bobby, the red mirrors on John Allen, they are not in class, but Bobby knows that it is for position on the track. He doesn't have to give anything up, and he can help his teammate out in front of him there, Brennan Horn. So we'll see how long it takes John Allen to make his way by, if he's able to. Bobby can be a tough pass at times, but for John, having that rough qualifying means he starts behind folks like Brennan Horn and Bobby Childs, and this is where it really could hurt him if he can't get by early.
All right, and I got word, Larry, that before the race we did have Steve Daniel waiting in the green room, and unfortunately we weren't able to get to him pre-race. Well, you never know. If he finishes on the podium.
See him, but okay.
Yeah,
that's unfortunate.
Well, he was there, but yeah, we'll see. And you know, if he finishes on the podium, and he's done that quite a bit this season, he's currently sitting 5th in AM early on in this 60-minute race, and then we'll get to talk to him. But here, as we're watching right now, your leader is Robert Hartley, with Mike Dam running second, Chris Thorman and John Allen taking another swipe, it looks like, at Bobby Childs as they come down into turn 4, and we'll see if he gets it done. Yeah, Bobby Childs continues to hold him off, and Jeff Cranston, who's sitting second in AM currently, he's looking to be maybe a little opportunistic there, as he wants to get up to Bobby Childs as well, current leader in his class.
He would definitely like to get there, but he's, one of those, he's talked to us before about being traditionally conservative, but tonight, with really nothing to lose, maybe he could be a little bit more aggressive. But also wanted to note Mike Taylor. We talked about him in the points battle he's in with Steve Daniel. Mike Taylor not in the lineup tonight.
Not in the lineup, yeah.
That's going to be interesting to see if he can hang on for a championship despite not participating. He does have about a 10-point lead. It's not out of the question that he could still win this thing. But the eyes are on that guy right there, that 96 in Steve Daniel, to whether or not he can move up enough spots to start replacing what I mentioned was that 9th place finish earlier, and to start moving up and maybe get in some better points. He needs about 10 points to do it. And I would say somewhere between a 1st and a 9th is about a 10-point finish.
Yes. So,
just in case you're wondering, for example, I'll just pull this up right now. It's an hour. We got a lot to talk about. Steve Daniel, his 9th place points was 12. where last week at Mosport, the winner was Mike Taylor.
Mike Taylor.
He received 22 points. So 10-point difference, which is exactly what Steve Daniel needs. So he may have to come away with a win in order to win this championship.
All right, as we're watching this battle for the lead right now, maybe not so much a battle for the lead as we've got Mike Dam from Orion Racing currently running second to his teammate Robert Hartley. Hartley was our championship winner in season number 21, and hanging pretty darn close right now is D2D E-Racing's Chris Thorman and the Team Esport Racer entry Greg Mack in that green number 2 machine. And I swear I'm not going to say anything to jinx it for Greg Mack tonight. I think I've been caught in that position one too many times. So we'll watch here early on.
Yeah, he's already going and just talking about him and putting the camera on him. He's already into the grass there. So,
yeah, really.
Yeah, you may just want to kind of avoid him, sort of like the treatment that the Elder Dipdahl gave us the last time out.
Dipdahl. Yeah, exactly. Speaking of which, where is Dean Dipdahl? All right. And John Allen, you can see an early turn in at turn 1, pops over the curbing that's there to separate the pit lane from the main track surface as he tried to sneak underneath the 88 machine. And now John Allen, he's going to try to go wide, take the long way around. And this, I was going to say, this might be the opportunity that Cranston could use to maybe get underneath and maybe at least get up to the quarter panel of John Allen. He decides to actually take the same line as John Allen and maybe follow him through. But let's see here as they come past the little kink and over towards turn 3. And John Allen now pokes to the inside. The outside didn't work last lap. Bobby Childs dropping a wheel into the grass on turn-in. And John Allen dropping a grass on the exit of turn 4, but he manages to take the position. Wow, you know,
that was interesting because the previous lap, Bobby defended the inside, gave John the outside, and John couldn't make it stick. This time, Bobby gave him the inside, almost was able to hold that spot, but John super late on the brakes. I did not think he was going to make that. Like you said, he put 2 tires a corner exit. That's how close he was to losing it. And but he's getting desperate, I think. As you can see now, he's up to 7th overall, but he's got 2 seconds to Brennan Horner in front of him before he picks up the draft of that train. So he's got some work to do if he thinks he's going to have a shot to win this race. Bobby now heads up with Cranston for the AM lead. Those two right now nose to tail.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, so John Allen now, he's got a pretty good amount there that he's got to make up just to get back into that lead pack. Brennan Horn, as you mentioned, almost 2 full seconds up the road there, and John Allen's going to have to do that all by himself because it looks like our top drivers, they're pretty content. Well, they were pretty content to stay in line coming up to the keyhole.
He would love to see a little bit of fighting there between Peyton and Mack, and you can see right now Peyton's got a pretty good run coming out of keyhole. Greg Mack's going to defend. Any little bit of defensive side-by-side through the Madness section could definitely help John Allen catch them. And look at the move by Brennan Horn trying to get out there to follow his teammate David Peyton as they go down into to turn 4.
Yeah, there you go, as Greg Mack holds off David Peyton in the number 64 machine, the 2 D2D E-Racing machines of Peyton and Horn directly behind, as maybe Mack is starting to lose touch just a little bit with Chris Thorman up ahead in 3rd. But I think that Larry was more about defending coming down into turn 4 more than anything else.
Yeah, Greg Mack has been pretty quick. You know, he's had some bad luck in some of the recent rounds, but we talked about this thing before the Mosport race. I think he actually had set one of the fastest practice lap times in the leading up to Mosport. He's had some pretty good pace in this MX-5 Cup car here recently, so it's not really a surprise to see him running up into the top 4. And like you said, I think he's only losing sight of Thorman in 3rd because the defensive lines he's having to take with Peyton and Horn, the 2 teammates behind him.
All right, as we're back on board with the SKKJ Racing number 96 of Steve Daniel, the 3rd car in that line coming through the final corner, coming through turn 13 and onto the front straight. Currently sitting 5th in the AM category, has not been able to improve upon that. Right ahead of him, he does have Eric Kleister sitting 4th in class.
Just to throw a few other names out that are in the points championship battle here in AM. Obviously, we talked about Mike Taylor not here tonight, but currently leading. I believe the number was with 137 points. Second place, 9 points back, is that Steve Jan. You can see him right there. In third is Greg Brockway, currently running third in class, just ahead of the Kleister and Daniel battle going on behind him. And then in fourth, David Payne, who's currently sitting right behind Steve Daniel. And then Jeff Cranston, currently running second to Bobby Childs. Where is Bobby's order, you ask? He's currently in 15th, having a couple of DNSs this season. He started out with a second and a first out of the first 3 races, but chose not to run a few rounds. So he's going to be playing spoiler with not a chance to win the championship, but he could walk away with a race victory in class. Given his current position, he looks pretty strong.
That's right. As Bobby had some back issues mid-season, and I still contend that was from putting together the track guide for one of our World Challenge events.
If you ask him, though, he'll say it's from just carrying us around all the time. That's how he got his back hurt.
That's right. we're such a burden to Bobby. Bobby's our beast of burden. All right.
Oh, but a late turning for Bobby there at 1. As you can see, Jeff Cranston getting a good line, but nowhere to go with it. Bobby slides wide. They're going to go side by side. We saw this a little bit with John Allen trailing Bobby earlier. Bobby a little bit late on turn in into 1, but he's still able to hold that position.
And he carried a good amount of speed through turn 1. Actually had made and opened up maybe an extra car length or so on Jeff Cranston as they came out of 1. Cranston now closes it down, gets a good run out of the keyhole, has that really strong draft as they're now going to go side by side. But yeah, it looks like Bobby may be looking over. He's got the 3-screen setup, but maybe as he was looking over at the other driver, almost forgot to turn in. It was the same thing that we saw with John Allen, that he was very late turning in for 4. Yes.
Yeah, as they come up there through 5, Cranston I thought was going to hold Bobby, and Bobby takes the aggressive outside line and gets the spot back. Great move for Bobby Childs.
Indeed, and he gets by Tom Rathke in the number 41 machine, the 3rd car in that line. Looked as though he might push Cranston back around Bobby Childs as they were coming into turn 6 and going into the S's. Did not get it done. I'm sure Rathke pretty much had to check up rather than stay in the throttle there. But as they come down into the carousel, you can see the difference in entry there as Cranston looks to go a little bit deeper on the brakes than the 88 machine. They both get a pretty decent run out of the final corner, out of turn 13, and as they come underneath the Cooper Tire Bridge, let's see if Bobby Childs does that very late turn in once again.
He does, but unfortunately for Cranston, when he turns in, there's just nowhere to go with it. I think he's having a lift mid-corner. I like Cranston's turn-in point better than Bobby's, but Bobby's holding track position, and that's proving very difficult for Cranston. But now Rathke is going to try and take the opportunity to duck the inside and get ahead of Cranston.
Yeah, as we've seen the last 2 laps where Cranston has had a very late turn in going into the keyhole, tries to square things off at the exit, and that allows Rathke to sneak right underneath. We'll see if he can hold that line through the corner as we jump back up now. This is once again the battle for 4th position. Greg Mack and David Payton. Payton now making a charge here. Perhaps
he's had enough car in this train, though.
That's right. So we've got Payton, we've got Brennan Horn, and then John Allen. Then when the last we watched, John Allen was almost 2 full seconds back from this pack, but this extended amount of battling here has allowed him to pull up. The problem, Larry, just got 4 of them to get by. Although it looks like Brennan Horn just pulled right over drivers left and let the 101 machine through.
That was surprising. I thought for a second there he had gotten a course cut or something that we didn't see, but no, he just got right back in it. Maybe he just realized rather than fight John, he could follow John. Because he's also, remember, Brennan's not far out of this either for the overall championship. He may not have enough points to catch John Allen for the win, but Brennan's currently 3rd. He's trying to stay ahead of a few guys and even try to maybe even catch Hartley, who's currently leading this race.
And
so,
Larry, it looks like we've got a driver who done blowed up. And that looks like Chris Thorman in the number 60 machine.
Missed
and that
shift, maybe.
Yeah, and and these MX-5s now, they've got a sequential gearbox, and it's hard to miss a shift and go from say 5th to 2nd, but you could still you can still, if you're trying to engine brake, go down into a corner and just go down an extra gear and just over rev that thing. And that looks like that's what happened to the 60 machine. His day is now done after having
I tell you what, though, for John Allen, this probably didn't help him because he needed that third place driver. He needed Thorman to be up there to have an opportunity to be a bridge to try and catch the leaders, because right now Hartley, who's the man chasing Allen for the championship, is out in front with only his teammate within a 5-second window. These guys, though, what a battle between Rathke, Childs, and Craney Customs himself are just all going side by side. That is insane.
That was nuts, coming through turn 9 side by side over the crest of the hill, mere inches apart, Larry. Just back from that other battle that we were watching. And Tom Rathke now gets around Bobby Childs, moves up to 7th overall, and that perhaps eases things up just a little bit for Jeffrey Cranston, who had been sitting two positions back from Bobby Childs, but now is in a much better position than he was just a lap before.
Yeah, that's a great job for Rathke. Now, I believe he had lost a couple spots on the start of this race. So for Rathke, he actually started in front of Bobby. So now he's got that spot back after the first 11 laps here or so. But this could be a good little train if they stay sorted like this. They could make up some pretty good time on this field and put themselves in positions. Maybe even, you never know how things shake out, but these guys could end up with, top 5 finishes come into the race if they can hold together.
And so as you watch now going down into turn 4, I was going to mention before we had jumped back to that other battle that John Allen had managed to get around the 64 machine of David Payton, just as we were watching the 60 machine done blowed up. But still Greg Mack now sitting in 3rd position with John Allen up 6 positions, now from the start of the race. And tell you what, Larry, I think we've got a replay here coming up, and I believe this is going to be the number 60 machine, and we'll see what happens here as he comes down to the Cooper Tire Bridge.
Well, very often when you blow a motor up in iRacing, it's basically from an overheating, over-revving sort of quick downshift deal. Either you hit somebody and you blocked the radiator and it overheated, or you went down to 1st when you meant to stop at 3rd.
And I think he may have just dropped a gear going down into turn 1, Larry. And over revved the motor doing it.
That's unfortunate. He was really running strong up there in the top 3.
All right, John Allen now.
Yeah, look at this move. He's got quicker through 1 to see if he can make the move here on Greg Mack for that 3rd spot.
And Mack is staying to the inside to defend Allen much later on the brakes, but he's got a long way around. And double contact as John Allen gets into the back of Greg Mack twice, as he now has to defend against a very, very opportunistic David Payton in the 64 machine, who is now right alongside the 101. Brendan Horn just kind of sitting back there watching the whole thing unfold, but giving a little bit of clearance for the moment to Greg Mack in the 2 as they come into the corner. Well, maybe not for very long, as Payton tries to sneak up the inside of Greg Mack as things switch back across through Madness and down the hill. Hey, it's almost like nothing ever happened.
I'd say John Allen's very good through 4, and he knows it. He knows he can outbrake just about anybody there and hold them off through 5. He did it again there, but he had such a good line to the keyhole that he gets such a good run that he had nowhere to go with, and all he could do was to give a boost to Greg Mack and say, all right, fine, here's a little extra horsepower or 2 for your MX-5 and send you down the back straight. So John Allen's maybe has to time that a little bit better. Maybe you leave an extra car length through the keyhole and then get the run down the back straight.
All right, and so Larry, our eagle-eyed guys back in the booth or back in the truck, the John Grabowski is watching the dashboard of Chris Thorman, and said that after he came out of turn 1, Thorman went from 3rd down to 2nd instead of going from 3rd up to 4th.
That is the wrong way.
That's
expert opinion. I believe he went the wrong way with his transmission. He mixed up his left hand and his right hand when it went to the shifts, and unfortunately for him, that means his race ended prematurely. Yeah,
there you go. So the mystery is now solved. Thank you, John Grabowski, as we watch this battle continue to unfold here for 3rd here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, as we've got Greg Mack, then John Allen, then David Payton and Brendan Horn, the 2 drivers, those 2 drivers from D2D eRacing, And looks like John Allen once again going to follow Greg Mack. But as this is unfolding here, Larry, both Robert Hartley and Mike Dam, our two Orion Racing teammates, they have now stretched out almost a 7-second advantage over Greg Mack in that little battle behind him.
Because they're just saying, all right, we're nose to tail, let's just go do it. And Mike Dam, you know, they often say they don't really have team orders. But if you're already out in front and a championship is on the line, I'm sure he's at least thinking, I'm not going to bother fighting with him. Let's just go win this race. And maybe he'll fight at the end, but I have a feeling if Hartley's got a chance and he's shown the speed to win this thing, and it gives himself a chance to win another championship, that might be what it's doing. Now, this is a development.
This is, well, as John Allen comes down the pit lane, and John Allen, who is typically our last driver in, runs the car until it is out of fuel. He is on the pit lane right now on lap number 13, taking what should be his only pit stop. Now, Larry, with these cars, we think that they can do somewhere around the lines of about 30 laps on a tank of gas. We think the race is probably, given those lap times in the 136s, gonna be probably around 38 laps, and so a very wide pit window from around from lap 8 all the way to lap 30. John Allen, our first driver in, he decides to get out of that fight with Greg Mack, with Brennan Horn and David Payton. And hopefully for him, he finds a gap in traffic there that he can just run his race and perhaps leapfrog Mack when he finally goes into the pit stop. Now let's jump here, Larry. This is the battle for the lead in the AM category, as Jeff Cranston has managed to find his way around the 88 machine.
Yeah, great job. He had looked pretty racy and pretty quick. He had lost a couple of spots here early in this race on the opening lap, but now he's got them back. He does look very strong, very smooth for Jeff Cranston here now leading in the AM category. But Bobby's not going to go anywhere. Bobby's going to continue to fight and to see if he can make this thing a race all the way to the finish. But one thing I want to note, just real quick, is we saw the stop there for John Allen. I believe he's about 40 seconds, maybe as much as 40.5 seconds out of the lead. Let's just keep an eye on that as we get towards the later pit stops for the Orion guys to see if it closes up.
Yeah, and let's see, as Greg Mack decided to pit in early as well, and he's taking some tires. And so that is definitely going to drop him back behind John Allen. I don't believe John Allen took any tires here.
Although you could take 2 tires for free here, so you could choose to take just the left sides, which I think he may have just done, and not have a fuel penalty. So look where he comes out, right equal. It looks like they will be, maybe even ahead of John Allen.
There we go. He's going to get up to speed now. Doesn't have much heat in the tires, and we know these things are a little.
Well, he's got heat in half the tires.
Yeah,
2 of them are going to be cold.
Yeah, but John Allen is right back to where he was. All right, let's take a look here, Larry. I think we've got a replay queued up as we're on board with Tom Rathke here. And this is Rathke was just ahead of Bobby Childs and Jeff Cranston as Rathke went around. I think, and impacted the wall. And it looked as though Bobby Childs was able to avoid it, but as he did, definitely had to check up, and that might be where Jeff Cranston managed to work his way by. As we're back to this battle now for third, well, not the battle for third anymore. Now it's the battle for 14th, Larry, and 5th in pro, as John Allen is all over the back of the number 2 machine.
John's kicking himself because he really would love to have been just ahead of Greg Mack. Greg Mack very wisely knew that if he stopped and came out quickly, he and John would be paired up. But John's got a good run here, but it may not be enough unless he's able to stick the outside. He does. He's got the warmer tires, able to make it work. But John, look at that. He already lost another 1 second. He had gotten this thing down into the mid-40s. Now he's up into the mid-41s in terms of overall to Hartley and Dam out in front. So that didn't help him at all, but maybe now he can have Greg Mack maybe even give him a little bit of a push or even a push draft on the back straight if Greg can stick with him.
All right, and they've got Robert Brist just up ahead. Brist currently running 9th in the AM category. Should get a little bit of a pull off of him. Not quite yet, but I'm sure it's coming probably out of the keyhole in on the back straight. As we jump back over now to this battle for the lead in AM with Cranston and Childs. And you know, Larry, you know, I think at this point here, you know, Cranston, one of the issues that he had obviously was Tom Rathke was right in that fight the entire time, and he was constantly having to check behind him until Rathke actually fought his way around. Now with just the two drivers here, you know, it definitely simplifies things quite a bit, and they've got a long way both ahead of them and behind them before they get to any traffic. I think they've got David Payton about almost 5 seconds up the road. They've got David Payne, I think, almost 11 seconds back. So a lot of opportunity for these two to fight things out to the bitter end.
Yeah, but, you know, as they say, it takes two to tango, and not as a negative thing here, it's a positive thing, because it's difficult to dance with three cars. That third car ends up making moves that are maybe ill-advised. The middle car has to defend as well as be aggressive, and it's a very difficult and awkward dance that you're doing out there if you have three in a line. Suddenly, you know, I'm sorry to see Rathke end his night the way he did, but suddenly with him out of the picture, it's a lot easier. They, you know, between Bobby and Jeff, they can just take it easy. They could just sit single file and do their thing and not worry about the wild card of a third driver, or they could just do simple one car passing moves without worrying about what is that third car going to do. So so much easier to race really when it's one-on-one than if you throw in a wild card.
All right, good run coming out of the keyhole right now for Bobby Childs, but looks like Bobby maybe let out.
Yeah. Little fuel save there for Bobby. Is he going to dive to the inside? Maybe not quite aggressive here, but if he's able to fuel save enough to pass him in the pits, that might ultimately give Bobby what he's after.
Yeah. And as we were watching this, Edgar Sancinelli from Frito Sport Racing, who was our AM category champion last year, he brings his car to the pits. He rejoins in 18th position. Looks like everybody else now.
His stop was a little bit longer. I wonder if he had taken on the 4 tires, whereas we had seen for Greg Mack taking on just the 2, and for John Allen didn't take any. So different strategies already between the 3 cars that have stopped for their fuel stops.
All right, and here, this pack here is David Payne, Eric Kleister, and Steve Daniel. This is the battle for 4th in AM. And it looks like both Kleister and Daniel going to come into the pit lane at the same time. That's going to leave, probably that's Payne and Daniel coming into the pit lane. That's going to leave Kleister out on track, and he will take over 3rd position in AM.
Interesting, as we are really close to the halfway point. Some folks just have that strategy that, hey, we get to the 30-minute, I'm coming in. In this case, maybe it was just a convenient spot. You get yourself separated a little bit from some of that traffic. So it'll be interesting to see. Again, we're keeping our eye on Steve Daniel, as he's going to come out probably right behind Payne again, but he's the guy in the fight for the championship. So we'll see if he's able to improve on this pit stop. Looked like a pretty clean stop there, 17 seconds. So far, everyone's actually been in their stop box shorter than John Allen, who's typically one of the shortest ones.
Shortest.
So John probably won't be the one to run out of fuel tonight. Probably.
Hey, and he didn't hit the wall going in or leaving, so
not yet.
Not yet.
Hey, you never talk about hitting walls. You're talking about here at Mid-Ohio and that bridge turn 1 mess. So it happens.
Oh yeah, it happens far too often.
Yeah.
All right, and we've been watching. Here we go. This is back to Cranston and Bobby Childs once again, as Cranston gets a little loose. Actually, a lot loose coming in through the carousel and back out, and Bobby Childs looking a little more tidy through that section of the track. We'll see if he can convert that, maybe carry a little more speed through turn 1.
Interesting. He's even turning in earlier. I wonder if following, he's a little bit more precise than when he's leading.
Yeah.
Appears to be. Jeff doing a pretty good job of holding a consistent line, even if he was a little bit loose earlier in the lap. He's very consistent point to point around this place, and it's hard to do. It's a very, as you know, it's a very difficult track to be consistent around, because there's just so many little bits of camber changes through every single corner, it seems. So if you miss a corner by 6 inches, you're on a different angle, and aggressive move for Bobby, taking the draft to go to the outside now down the back straight.
Yeah, went to take a look to the inside. Cranston went to defend, so Bobby Childs moved to the outside. We saw a couple laps ago where he was pretty clearly trying to save some fuel, but Bobby Childs, great move around the outside, going through 4 and then up through Madness, so moved Bobby Childs up to the lead in the AM category. Moved Jeff Cranston now back in the second.
Yeah, great job for Bobby there. Now we'll see if Cranston, who's shown some really good pace, can find his way back around, or see if this becomes an opportunity for pit stops for either one of them again, because we're now past the halfway point.
Yeah, I was starting to wonder there. Cranston kept that inside line, but once Bobby got around him going into 4, wow, big wiggle from Cranston under braking going into the carousel, and they both stay out on track. I'm wondering if perhaps Cranston thought, maybe I'll let Bobby by. He had a couple.
Oh, no.
Steve Daniel off track. That is then
that's David Payne.
David Payne off
that's
track
what he was,
as well.
Yeah, they were battling together before and after their pit stops. This battle looks like it's kind of spilled over all the way to the beach. And see if we get our guys to cue something up for us here in a minute and see how that happened.
Wow, so that battle there now drops both Payne and Steve Daniel back in the 10th and 11th in AM. Of course, both drivers had already taken their pit stops, but that's going to make things very difficult for them as we have this battle for the lead in AM. Childs and Cranston. I was going to say, well, maybe Cranston was trying to do a little fuel savings, let Bobby go by, maybe pick up some of what he might have lost from the lead, but we've got that replay queued up. Let's see exactly what happened with Steve Daniel and David Payne just a lap ago.
Steve's the trailing driver under braking. Wow, Steve just missed his braking point. That's why he was waiting there, it looked like, for Payne to get going again. He knew that was his mistake. Big collision there for Steve Daniel. What if he got into the ABS? These cars don't brake as efficiently on ABS, and sometimes your instincts, you do it in the street too. You start braking and you realize you're not going to stop fast enough, so what do? You brake harder. In these cars, that means all you really do is you extend your braking distance. Into these cars. They're actually, it's for some reason, it's not the best ABS system on these MX-5s in here. I think in real life, they are better, but they're modeled in a way where you're better off staying under them.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate, though, for Steve. It may have taken out any opportunity to win this class and win this championship.
Win the championship, exactly. Might have just seen it all go up in smoke over there by turn 4 as we jump back to the battle for the lead in class with Childs and Cranston. Cranston taking a quick look to the inside, going into the keyhole. And both drivers taking very tight lines through the keyhole there. That doesn't seem to upset the cars all that much. They look pretty well balanced, Larry, and both getting to that last apex as the track drops away, both in camber and in elevation. But really nice and smooth through there as they come down under braking in the 4, and you can see Childs much later on the brakes. Don't know if he meant to go in that deep.
And it caused a little bit of a wiggle in the car as well when he got on them that deep. You're going downhill hard on the brakes. The car is going to pick its own direction, and that time it picked a little left, picked a little right, but he was able to catch it and hold on to that position. But it's getting a little feisty here between these two. I like it.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed. All right, so Larry, tell you what, let's do this. We're just about halfway through. Well, actually, we're a little bit more than halfway through. We're about 35 minutes through this 1-hour race to the checkered flag for tonight's finale. Let's take a quick break. We'll thank some of our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll bring you coverage all the way to the checkered flag here from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, where you are watching the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series presented by Performa Texas Elite Graphics, and we'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com. Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
And we're back here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for the season finale, the season 22 finale of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series presented by Performance Texas Elite Graphics. I'm Greg Ginsburg along with Larry Lefty McLeod. And Larry, wouldn't you know it, as soon as we went to break, pretty much every one of the D2D e-racing drivers, as well as Jeff Cranston, all decided to pit in. And it has really created a big jumble here as we now see the battle right now. This is now the battle for third, and John Allen on the pit stops has moved himself up into third position after having started 10th tonight. David Payton, Brennan Horn, who just came out of the pits. Payton now sitting in fourth. Then Greg Mack, who had been only about a car length and a half back from John Allen, now finds himself in fifth position. Brennan Horn in the number 45 machine now sits back in sixth. But looks like John Allen, he might have played it right.
Yeah, so far, yeah, I think coming in at the time, the problem is that it's about a 33-second delta to come in and take your pits and get back out. He's 40 seconds down. That's the 7-second gap. That's why I've been watching that all along here. He's 41 seconds off of the lead. He was 40 and a half, so he really hasn't gained anything on Hartley and Dam out in front. If Hartley and Dam come in with clean, efficient pit stops, then that might be all they need to hold on to this thing. That is Bobby
Larry,
Childs back in the pits.
Yeah, and as we went to break, we were watching Bobby, and we had Bobby and also Jeff Cranston. They pitted in, they came out. I think you said that it was going to be a fight to the death.
Somebody died.
And it looks like on cold tires, Bobby Childs has, he's committed harikari there in the 88 machine.
Yeah, he had taken the tires, taken a much longer pit stop than Jeff Cranston did, about 10 seconds longer, and that must be for the extra tires. And I'm almost wondering if he's regretting that decision now, wishing that perhaps he would have just stayed on those tires and just gotten another 20 minutes out of them. Might have been the better choice. And right now, hindsight is 2020, or his sight's probably a little blurry now after running into whatever he ran into. But his race appears to be over.
All right, let's take a look and see exactly what happened here, Larry. We've got it on the screen as they're going down into, well, there you go.
He's going to hit a tire barrier at a high rate of speed.
Oh, painful.
Poorly. Yes, for the tire barrier especially.
It's like, no.
Sorry, Bobby.
Sorry, Bobby. Hey, and guess what? Bobby Childs, he's in the green room. Should we bring in the concussed driver, Larry?
Oh.
I'm afraid to do this.
I'm afraid to as well. Why don't we hold off for a little bit? Let's keep our eye on these battles, because John Allen in third. This is the points he's sitting on that would be his next drop is a third. He needs a top two. Hartley needs a win. He's in that position now, but Hartley and Dam are two of the last. Only Patrick Ravennis, the third of the three drivers, yet to stop. So these guys at some point here, as we're on lap 25, are going to have to come in for fuel. And we'll see how efficiently they're able to do it as teammates. Might even be this lap.
I was just going to say, Larry, I think, although we're still firmly, about 5 or 6 laps within the pit window here, looking at the way Robert Hartley's car is drifting through corners, it might not be a bad idea to go and get the tires, but nope, they're going to stay out for at least another lap, and they're going to be coming up on the back of, looks like the 44 machine of Eric Kleister, sitting 7th and AM right now, is the next car up the road.
See when they decide to stop, but John's done a pretty good job of holding this crowd behind him.
Yeah,
Peyton's
he
been
is,
strong all night,
and he's running about 2 to 3 tenths of a second faster right now than well, actually, no, I take that back. I was looking at David Payton. Currently, Hartley and Dam still running faster laps than John Allen, about 3 tenths of a second faster.
John would love to have Peyton just give a little bit of a push, a little push here between turn 1 and the keyhole, and maybe another little push down the back straight, kind of pick up these lap times a little bit if he could. But I'm not sure that maybe Peyton's not that comfortable pushing somebody along. It is typical bump drafting. You can do it if you know your dance partner pretty well.
And John Allen, wow, very deep going into the keyhole. And Larry, I for a moment there, I didn't think he was going to get the car back underneath him as he went very deep on the brakes and did not get the car rotated until the last moment there, and had the exit curbing to save him. But a great run now by the 64 machine of Peyton, just not quite close enough to make a difference. And so, you know, Peyton may not be up to the bump drafting, but John, Larry, I'm telling you, as we watch John here just on this last lap, it seems like he's getting a little wild. Peyton might not have to worry about that much longer.
If John decides that he's going to send it a little bit too hard, yes, he can make David Payton's job very easy, as well as Peyton's teammate Brennan Horn right behind him. But not over yet.
Nope.
17 minutes to go. We still have a pit stop pending for our two Orion boys out in the front, and this train is going to get very interesting depending on how aggressive Brennan Horn and David Payton want to get, or Greg Mack for that matter.
All right, as we're on board right now with Brennan Horn, who's the fourth car in that train.
Out of 4 in the train. He's just ahead of Greg Mack. He's just looking at the tail lights of his teammate David Payton there in front of him in the green trimmed D2D racing car.
And Peyton just not able to get up. And this is why it surprised me a little bit that John Allen had gone so deep on the brakes the previous lap, is that Peyton, as they get into the braking zone at the keyhole, is only, is still like maybe a car length and a half back, not very close to John Allen. And we saw that time not really able to make up all that much under the draft going into turn 4 because of how much ground he loses all the way back at turn 1. But here now they're back to nose to tail, coming underneath the Honda bridge over at turn 6, going through the S's here at turns 7 and 8.
It's almost like Peyton's a little bit quicker through 5 and 6 than John Allen. John's dealing with maybe a bit of a loose car.
Yeah.
He's able to get around keyhole and get down the back straight efficiently, but it seems everywhere else he's a little bit of a struggle. And there you can see how close they've been the last couple of laps, essentially just riding nose to tail with them and throwing Brennan Horn for good measure, as all 3 of them, with Greg Mack even hanging onto this train. But I wouldn't be surprised if John gets one more bad keyhole exit that you might see a Peyton or even Brennan Horn both working on by.
Try to attack, exactly. Yeah. And even that time going into the carousel, John almost 10 feet deeper going into the carousel. I thought maybe Peyton might try to get underneath him, and now does he go. Again, Allen with a good exit out of turn 1. These the sweepers seem to be doing very well for him. Unfortunately, turn 1's pretty much the only sweeper here.
Yeah, he seems to be able to do pretty well here. I don't know if it's because the car is rotating enough that he can get on the gas early then coming down out of the keyhole. But look at that gap open up. And it's not just a speed thing. He literally is getting a better run. You can see him accelerate, better run than Peyton or even Horn behind him. But you watch Peyton, how close he's able to stay and how efficient the car looks through the up and downhill section here of 5 and 6.
Yeah, right here. And you can see where Allen pushes wide, which makes it a little more difficult going through Manis. And now coming into the pit lane from the lead, Robert Hartley, driver of the number 3 Orion Racing machine. And his teammate Mike Dam is going to stay out on track.
Yeah.
I would have expected to see them both come in at the same time.
Same. Yeah, I totally expected to see the 2 of them come in together. Obviously, they're on comms together. These guys, most of them probably are. But this will be interesting. Also, that Hartley wasn't alone. There is other cars coming in still right around him, Preventus being the other one. And he should come out in the lead. or ahead of John Allen, but we'll see. There's the train I can see in the background now coming around the carousels. John Allen.
Yeah, and he's going to come out right behind Robert Brist in the 51 machine.
And you watch the train of Allen, Horan, Mack, and now Peyton at the tail end of it. Peyton appears to have had some kind of an issue out there, so it looks like it's a 3-car train now for Allen, Horan.
And he's a good distance back.
Yeah.
As well. Hopefully we'll be able to pull that up and see exactly what happened.
But it looks like it's about 9 seconds from Hartley to Allen in third.
Wow, and all of a sudden that 64 machine didn't look so happy coming through turn 1, giving a little bit of a wiggle there mid-corner. All right, let's take a look. I think we've got the replay queued up here, and we'll see exactly what happened to David Payton as he was following John Allen here over the crest of the hill, over at turn 9 and down, and the car got light, and the car got into the wall going through turn 9.
Yep. Didn't get a lot of contact, but that's enough to send away what may have been a possible third-place finish. Now he's just kind of limping around for maybe a 6th. Hopefully the car doesn't have too much damage, or he'll have a Jeff Cranston on his heels very shortly.
And just a reminder to everybody at home, if you're watching, that the drivers that with cars with red mirrors, red number boards, those are our pro class drivers. And then somebody like David Payne, they're in the number 31 machine, the white number 31, one of our AM category drivers, of being tailed very closely still by Steve Daniel.
Interesting. So yeah, Daniel and Payne were fighting earlier when they came out of the pit stop together. They had to come in together. They had let some cars go on by, but take a look. They're now back up into second and third in AM with all this other stuff going on tonight. This for Steve Daniel is sort of landing in his lap. The points difference is going to come down to, I'm sure Kevin Ford's got his calculators running already, but we're going to have to wait and see for Kevin Ford's final as this thing, we got 12 minutes left in this race. Can Steve Daniel pick up a spot and maybe another extra couple of points? He needs 9 to tie the lead, and then it comes down to tiebreakers. Can he find 9 points over his previous 9th place finish? This is going to be fascinating, but he's got David Payne there in front of him, who's probably not going to let him by any means. Payne right now obviously following the 57 of Santinelli, not in the AM category, Santinelli in the pro class, but he might be using him right now as a little bit of a draft buddy.
Yeah, exactly. Let him pull up now. It's a long way until they get up to Jeff Cranston. Currently about 9 seconds. You can see Cranston there in that shot going into the keyhole just as these drivers are coming out of turn 1. So long way up the road, but again, maybe you use Santinelli to pull you along. Although I'm looking at this, Larry, and Santinelli running 38.2s, which is about the same times, obviously, as Payne and Daniel, and that is almost 0.6 of a second off of what Cranston is running up ahead.
So while we've got about 10 minutes left in this, Bobby's been messaging me here on the side as he's got himself just out of the medical center. I think they're just checking him out at the end. But he did mention this. This is the last round of our Classic Sprint Series, Season 22. There may be some things changing for Season 23 coming in a couple of months, including maybe an addition of another vehicle.
Yeah, I was going to say, wouldn't it be neat as iRacing unveils its 2023 Season 1 configurations tomorrow. We know that the GR86 Cup car
sounds like that's what they're talking about, bringing the GR86 car into the Classic Sprint Series. That could be exciting. Everyone's going to be jumping on that one tomorrow morning when it's finally pushed out in the updates. So that'll be very, very cool. Sounds like also there may be some updates coming to the MX-5 that could help all of its drivability. So very exciting for Classic Sprint Series. It'll take a few months off and come back a little later in the spring, but keep your eyes on that.
All right, Mike Dam now pitting in from the lead, and I believe he will be our final driver to pit here as we've got less than 10 minutes remaining, and we'll see where he comes out in relation to his teammate Robert Hartley.
Really curious about that gap to Hartley because Hartley was very quick in and out for his pit stop. Hartley still about 8.5 seconds ahead of John Allen. But can Hartley hold off Mike Dam?
It's going to be close as Hartley's coming down the front straight now, going through turn 1. Got a full head of steam through turn 1 as his teammate Dam is just coming off the apron, coming out of the pit lane. And look at this. They are side by side as they come up to the keyhole. I think we know how this is going to play out. And there you go. As Robert Hartley, for the moment, retakes the lead. And I'm sure that that's probably how it's going to stand. Otherwise, there's going to be a lot of strife in that team, I think, Larry.
Yes, it'll be very interesting to see how Mike Dam does, if he does any pushing here of his teammate Hartley. But right now, Hartley in a good position. Again, it's going to come down to calculators here at the end, just like in the M category with that man right there, Steve Daniel, chasing the potential lead here as he comes into this 9 points down. We'll see if he's able to do it. So Kevin Ford will start calculating that one, as well as the pro category, to see, does a win for Hartley, is it enough to overcome John Allen's third place tonight? Allen came in again with about a 10-point lead, if I recall. I've got it here in front of me. Yes, it was a 9-point lead there as well, 208 to 199. So if you look at one of the worst point positions for John Allen, what does he drop? He drops probably a 30-point event.
Yeah.
Going to replace with a 30, so it shouldn't be a change in points for John Allen if he stays in this position. But Rob Hartley, he is going to drop a 30-point event in third place. And if he's able to maximize points here tonight, possibly as many as 35, it picks up 5, getting him to round to that 204 range. Might need 4 more.
Yeah, and we'll see. Obviously, there are some bonus points that you can pick up for leading laps, bonus points that you can pick up for being on pole. But there's also a limit to how many bonus points you can pick up over the course of a season, Larry. Right. So he may be at that limit already. Now, also, maybe not at the limit yet, but might be getting to that level of frustration, that limit of frustration here as we watch David Payne against a very, very defensive Edgar Sancinelli. Sancinelli, he's not giving any quarter to the AM category drivers right behind him. He's been driving very defensive lines down into the keyhole. Down into turn 4 as well. He's going to make it as difficult as possible for Payne. And, you know, maybe this does open up the door to Steve Daniel.
Yeah, Steve picks up a spot. That's a huge help to him. But with only 6 minutes to go, he's got to, you know, get on with the show here. Probably isn't going to catch Cranston without a lot of help. But he's getting a little bit of help from Sancinelli here in this battle with Payne. But Payne has been quick all night. We know that Payne was ahead of Steve when they had their coming together. He was ahead of Steve when they went into the pit. So Steve's been staring at the back of that car for a long time tonight. I don't know if Steve's going to be able to find his way around, but if he does, it's probably going to be a little bit of help with Sancinelli and the Frito Sport car in front of them both.
You can see there Sancinelli staying all the way to the inside, coming down into turn 4, even as Payne opened things up very, very early. But Payne and wow, we just saw Payne just blink out there for just a moment, and I'm sure he's back. But you know, it's one of those things where it doesn't look like either Payne nor Steve Daniel can keep up with Sancinelli as they come out of the keyhole. Keyholes just a place where Sancinelli continues to get a much better run than the 31 and the 96 machine.
Well, with only about 5 minutes to go at the lap times that they are currently turning, about a minute and a half, it could be about 3 laps. Wow, so close there as Sancinelli just right across the nose of the 31 Payne.
Yeah, Payne, and that's the second time they're starting to get somewhat impatient, I think, here. You know, but again, he's going to have to carry in some of the corners that matter. It's a very difficult pass to make in the carousel. It's going to be much easier going into the keyhole, and these are the places where he just doesn't seem to be able to get up to the back of the number 57 machine.
Well, we know around here one of the easier places to pass is at the end of the back straight if you can get a great run on a keyhole. But it looks like Edgar's getting the really good runs.
Exactly. Yeah, lap after lap. Yeah. Sancinelli gets a much better run, and as he stays over to defend driver's right, you'll notice here that Payne maybe pops out a little early at some points. This is probably the closest Payne has been.
Can he up and under? Can he hold the outside like we saw Bobby do around 5 earlier? No, he does not. And Steve Daniel is just sitting back and watching at this point.
Yeah, and you know, and it may be a question with Daniel that perhaps he took on a little bit of damage when he and Payne got together, because he's just he doesn't seem to make up anything in the draft. Although it doesn't appear that there's any body damage on the car, but you know, may have thrown the alignment out. He just doesn't seem to have the speed off of some of these corners that the 31 machine does.
Not quite, but he could be the opportunist if he can see just a little bit of daylight somewhere. That position could be very valuable when it comes to this AM Class Championship when we add the points up at the end of the night.
All right, and so as we have now just 3 minutes remaining, Robert Hartley is your leader. There's Robert coming over the crest of turn 8 and then over into turn 9 with his teammate Mike Dam playing wingman, running second. John Allen, he is a full 10.5 seconds back, running in third position with Brennan Horn in the 45 machine right behind. Looks like Horn was able to clear himself of Greg Mack, the number 2 machine there, as you can see, about 15 car lengths back, currently sitting in 5th. In the AM category, Jeffrey Cranston running a pretty solitary life right now, as he's heading over through Madness and down through the S's here, as he is currently your leader in AM. He is about 10 seconds up the road from that battle for second between David Payne and Steve Daniel. And I guess we'll throw Edgar Sancinelli into that battle as well, between those 3 drivers. But Payne and Daniel currently running second and third in AM. Greg Brockway and actually Eric Kleister about 17 seconds back from Payne and Daniel.
Yeah, for Jeff Cranston, I suspect that while he's all by himself, he's not too disappointed. I think these are his favorite kind of races where he can just put his head down, do his own thing. He's won a lot of races this season, and it's going to be a matter of kind of a what woulda, coulda, shoulda been had he been able to make it just one more round. Because while he'll be able to move up some points here tonight, he's going to really be maybe bummed that he couldn't make one more, because he's won a lot of races in this series this year, but he's going to end up carrying points on one of his misses. That's going to be unfortunate, right? Because he's really put in some great speed this season. He's really dedicated. You look at it, started out with wins at Road America and Suzuka. He had a second place at Laguna Seca. He had the win at Sonoma. And then, of course, tonight leading this way. So really has had some great finishes, but not sure if he's going to have enough to be able to pull this off. He's 20 points down coming in. A win is worth 22. Maybe Cranston's got a chance at this. It's going to depend a little bit on what's going to go on here, as it looks like both of these 2 AM drivers have gotten their way around Sancinelli. So now it's mano a mano before David Payne and Steve Daniel for who can finish second in AM tonight.
And Larry, we're going to have to see where our leaders Hartley and Dam are, as we have now 15 seconds left on the clock.
They just started a lap. This should be white flag.
Yeah, just started the white flag lap, and that is going to give one more lap in that battle for second in AM. So why don't we jump? Let's jump back over and take a look at Payne and Daniel now. Knowing as they come through turn 9 right now, knowing that they've got one more lap to go.
Yeah, and so they probably just heard the white flag call. That's how iRacing does it. When the leader of the race gets white flag, everybody in their spotter gets told. So for Steve Daniel, he knows he's got a lap and a quarter to get this done, to pick up this one valuable spot, to have a chance. And for Cranston, he would love to maybe see if there's a chance on the way the math works out. It is going to be close, I think, between Taylor, who's currently in the lead, and Steve Daniel and Jeff Cranston when it's all said and done. But there you go, one more lap for these 2, and what a battle they've had for now a full hour.
And it looks like Sancinelli, who had fallen back behind these 2 drivers. Larry, I think he was trying to nurse that car to the finish before he ran out of fuel.
He may have just run out.
Yeah, he just did.
There we go. Look at these guys now. 2 more corners to go for Hartley, doing everything he needed to do tonight.
And Mike Dam putting on the drift demonstration right back behind his teammate. They're trying to put on a track blockage and get nobody can get by. Taking the win tonight at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, round number 9 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series. Robert Hartley. Mike Dam is going to come home in second. John Allen crosses the line in the Seamless Racing Machine. We'll see if he can hold on to the championship. He finishes in third. Brendan Horn from D2D, he comes home in fourth. Greg Mack from Team Esport Racer will finish fifth. And David Payton in that 64 machine, he's got 2 more corners to go. He comes through the carousel through turn 13 and onto the front straight. He's going to finish 6th tonight in AM.
Yeah, for John Allen, I just can't help to think of what could have been had he been able to get a better qualifying in this race. But as it is, he'll finish third. But AM category,
Jeff Cranston now coming out of the final corner onto the front straight, and he is your winner tonight at Mid-Ohio in AM. And again, what could have been, Larry, 2 rounds at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park Mosport a couple weeks ago. He was not there for either. And taking home second tonight in AM is David Payne. He manages to hold off Steve Daniel from SKKJ Racing. The DP Racing Machine coming home second. Steve Daniel from SKKJ coming home in third. Eric Kleister in the 44 machine, the green 44. He is going to come home in fourth, with Greg Brockway finishing in fifth in AM. And John Casey right behind, going to come home in sixth.
Well, this is going to be a lot of fun seeing how these points wind up. I don't want to say here in the pro because it's going to be very close. Hartley did what he needed to do to be able to get the points he needed tonight. Will it be enough? Not sure. And in AM, to be honest, it may be possible for our winner tonight, Jeff Cranston, to win the championship. It may be, depending on how this works with drops. So we'll let Kevin Ford, the gang, run the calculators, the slide rules, the abacus, whatever else they need to come up with the points and to see who wins the championship here in season 22.
All right, well, Larry, tell you what, let's give Kevin and that crack team of mathematicians a little chance to do that while we take a break and thank some of our sponsors. And we will be back here in just a few moments. We'll talk to some of our podium finishers and hopefully have some clarity on who our season 22 champions are here for season 22 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series presented by Performance Texas Elite Graphics. And we'll be right back.
Allow Extreme Scoring to do the work for you.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
All right, and welcome back to Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, where you've just seen the season finale, the season 22 finale of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series presented by Performa Texas Elite Graphics. And just to recap, taking the win tonight from Orion Racing, Robert Hartley, with Mike Dam finishing second. John Allen, our pro category points leader coming into the evening, comes home in third with Brendan Horn and Greg Mack just off the podium in pro. In AM, Jeff Cranston from Craney Customs takes the win with David Payne finishing second, Steve Daniel third, and then we had Eric Kleister and Greg Brockway finishing just off the podium. All right, so Larry, while we wait for the wait for Kevin Ford and his crack bunch of Santa's elves or whoever it is that's checking all the points and counting them twice and seeing who's naughty or nice. Let's bring in Jeff Cranston taking the win tonight in GT3 AM in the AM category here at Mid Ohio. All
right, Jeff Cranston's with us tonight. Jeff, yeah, you missed a couple of rounds at Mosport last time out, but you came back here with a vengeance tonight. You got that lead over Bobby and just kind of never looked back. Pretty dominant form. How did that look from your side?
Yeah, that was pretty fun at the beginning there, dicing it up with Bobby. I'm not sure what happened during his pit stop, but yeah, once I came out, I was kind of on my own there, peeking at the relative. I did have a spin. That was just due to lack of concentration. I was kind of looking at the relative, and then, yeah, made a mistake.
Yeah, but in the end, looking back, you got about 10 seconds or so to your rivals there. You're able to kind of run the last 15, 20 minutes of that race by yourself. Is that how you like it to be, is just to not have anybody around you, or would you prefer to kind of have a better gauge on exactly how far your lead was and know where that competition is?
No, I like the battle for sure. I kind of noticed I was just in a dead zone between who's in front of me, who's behind me. And then I was just doing some fuel math in my head. But yeah, I just kind of ran my own race at the end there, hit my marks.
Yeah, great job on that tonight. Our guys are running the calculators right now as we speak to see how this is going to come out. I initially didn't think you'd have an opportunity. I thought with drops and things, it was going to maybe not be there for you, but we're waiting on the calculators to be run to see where you end up. But great win tonight. Great way to come back and wind up the season here strong. Who do you want to give any special thanks or shout outs to?
As always, the Extreme League and sponsors behind it, Ricmotech, you guys in the booth, and yeah, the Cranny Customs teams here.
Well, awesome. Congratulations to you and the whole team on the great win here tonight, and we'll see how the points play out.
Right on. Thanks, guys.
All right, there you go. Jeff Cranston, driver of the Cranny Customs Mazda Miata, took the win tonight in the AM category. Let's bring in now David Payne from DP Racing. David, in the number 31 car, finished second tonight in AM.
All right, David Payne's here with us. And David, a second here tonight. Great finish. But tell me a little bit about the battles you had with Steve Daniel. We did see the contact, but you guys had a tremendous fight.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I thought it was a really good battle there. There was a little bit of accident there, but, it didn't affect things too much. So I'm quite excited.
Yeah, that was probably the best thing. It looked like, just an innocent, just missed his breaking point kind of thing. But you guys resumed that battle. It seemed almost right away. And even with Edgar Sancinelli thrown in there for a while, dude, it's a pretty big battle. How hard is it to battle with three drivers together as opposed to just two? How much more of a wild card does that third driver bring into a battle?
Quite a bit. I mean, it was touch and go there for a second. I thought with Edgar, thought I could get past him, couldn't quite make it. He's such a great driver, and so I just couldn't quite make it past him. And that I was a little worried about the time that Daniels behind me was catching up. And but overall, I mean, it was just such fun, such great fun.
Yeah, awesome drive. The battle was a lot of fun to watch. A lot of camera time for you guys tonight in the battle you guys and the show you put on for us. So congratulations on a second place finish here in the AM category tonight, and a great way to wind up the season.
Sure, thank you. Thank you, guys.
All right, there you go. David Payne finishing second tonight in AM, and Larry. It looks like the elves have gotten the points together. Let's take a look at the AM category.
Yeah.
And we'll go to pro when we talk to tonight's winner here. But finishing third for the second season in a row, 9 points out of the league from Frito Sport Racing, Greg Brockway. Coming home second. And here was the question, whether or not he was going to be able to overtake our points leader coming into tonight. Unfortunately not, finishing 3 points back from the championship with 152 points. Steve Daniel from SKKJ Racing, and Mike Taylor in absentia. We're going to have to name him the season 22 champion, driver of the number 66 Frito Sport Racing machine. takes the season 22 championship with 155 points. Congratulations to Mike.
Congratulations to Mike, and hopefully, Mike, you're listening in, maybe watching this round, couldn't make it tonight. Hard to see you not here tonight. Would have been fun to see you wind this thing up with a performance, but hey, congrats on that. It's never easy to win a championship. A lot of work goes into it.
All right, well, let's do this, Larry. Let's bring in Robert Hartley, our winner tonight from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, and, you know, we'll keep the mystery alive until maybe the interview is over, just in case. We don't want any hurt feelings. All right, Robert Hartley, driver of the number 3 Orion Racing Mazda MX-5, our winner tonight at Mid-Ohio.
So, Rob, tonight you put the thing on pole. You know, in order to try and win this championship, you had to probably come up with a victory. You did that. You and Mike pretty much just checked out. How'd that feel tonight?
Yeah, I couldn't be happier. It was probably my best race of the season. Yeah, that was the plan coming in. Just sit on pole, try to lead every lap. I thought Mike was going to get ahead of me in the pit stop because he was sitting back there saving.
Mm-hmm.
But I changed 2 and he took none, and I think that's what gave me the advantage.
Yeah, so do you was there any team orders there, or was Mike willing to take any chance for you to win a championship away from you, even if it meant winning the last round?
There was no... It was never really communicated that Mike was supposed to stay by me, but I'm pretty sure he left some runs on the table. But if he could have got close to me in the last few laps, I'm pretty sure he would have tried to make the pass.
Yeah, well, it was pretty good. You guys obviously work well together. You know the routine and how to be fast around a place like Mid-Ohio, and just are you watching as that's happening early in the race? Are you watching that delta to John and the others behind you? Do you know what that gap is?
Oh yeah, for sure. When I seen John pop up in like 5th place on the F3, I was like, oh boy, he's coming. But me and Mike put our head down and did what we had to do.
Yeah, well, congrats on the victory tonight. Let's go look and see if John was in the waiting area, but he's not. But for you getting the win here tonight in the season finale, put you in the best position possible. But we have the points updates, and Greg, if we want to talk about that just for a second here.
Yeah, I know it's going to be close.
It is close, and with your point total is 235 points. John Allen, 239.
No,
4 points. John Allen's going to win this championship and take it away from you. But one heck of an effort here in this last round. You gave it everything you had. It says a lot about yourself as a driver and the team and the preparation that goes into it. I'm sure you want to give them a quick thanks.
Yeah, for sure. You know, Mike and Travis, they work a lot on these setups we run, and we definitely wouldn't be as fast without them. But congratulations to John. He well-deserved championship.
Yeah, it's tough fighting between you and John and Brennan and all the other guys and Mike. It's tough. It's a great league. We're here in next season, and maybe some changes, maybe bringing in that GR86, so that should be a lot of fun. But as it stands right here, a great win for you. Go into the holiday break here on a high note for you, so congrats, Rob.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the broadcast. Thanks for Extreme for putting this on for us.
All right, there you go, Robert Hartley, your winner tonight from Mid-Ohio, and
you want to talk to the championship winner?
Well, it's either him or Bobby Childs. I'd rather bring in John Allen. So let's bring in John Allen. John Allen taking the season 22 championship here in the pro category for the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series.
John, congrats on that. As you heard Greg, I'm sure you've been checking out the points totals as well. And by a measly 4 points over the course of the season, you are going to be the season 22 Pro Class champion. I believe your 5th championship here in the Classic Sprint Series. Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a while. Actually, you're breaking the news to me. I wasn't sure. The points scoring occasionally gets tweaked season to season, but I know regardless what it is, my best opportunities are always the colder months, the real world off season, where I can focus a little more on these series, and it tends to pay dividends. So didn't make it easy on myself tonight. My goodness,
how was that qualifying?
I got a late start. Not that a 4th lap might have made a difference, but at the end of lap 2 into lap 3, either of which tend to be the best, I spun in the carousel. So literally threw away both at once and had to ride on my first and only lap out of the box. So That was took a deep breath or two and just tried to navigate traffic and see if I could keep them in sight. And then uncharacteristically for me, pitting very early, because at that point I just wanted to be in clear air and not take any risks in traffic more than necessary, knowing the points would be close. So that became the priority, and then apparently hanging on to the final podium spot might have made a difference at the end, but Brennan was definitely charging.
Yeah, Brennan was pushing right there. You had a heck of a battle with him and Greg Mack, and there's a whole gang there that you guys are running together with. But definitely made it difficult on yourself, but in the end, pick out the podium here, never easy, and another championship, which obviously the start of every season, that's the goal, but this one was not easy, as all of them are.
No, and for, to finish with this tire model, we talked about it all season long, like right out of the gate at Watkins, whenever it changed. But then Mid-Ohio is notoriously slick anyway, and man, bringing this tire to this track to finish up was like, I think I told somebody it was like driving a Zamboni made with wheels made of butter. But it was just, I'm glad that we didn't
it'll be 100% better tomorrow afternoon.
Well, I would hope so. Whether they revert to the prior model or come up with something better, but I don't know that it can be any more challenging than what we wrapped up with tonight. Kudos to everybody. I think we all had the concern that right in the first lap, the big one could happen if somebody spun in front of a crowd, and I don't think that happened anywhere. So, survival.
Okay. Great racing as always here in the Classic Sprint Series here in Ricmotech. They're always super clean. We always avoid the big pileups. You've driven a lot of public races. I've done a few. They're awful. A league like this, though, they're magnificent in how well everybody drives, the practice everybody, the time everybody puts in. It's a beautiful thing. And to come out in front of a league of this much talent for the 5th time now is pretty impressive, John. So congrats on that.
Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, there you go. John Allen from Seamless Racing, your Season 22 Pro Category champion. And congrats to both of our champions, John Allen and Mike Taylor, on very successful seasons here. And Larry, let's wrap things up. But before we do, let me, because I haven't done this tonight, if you liked what you saw tonight, if you liked the quality of the racing, heck, even if you liked Larry and I,
how can you not?
How could you
the
not?
Racing quality, forget me.
Yeah, forget Larry. But go ahead and give us a thumbs up. And, if you haven't already subscribed to Apex Racing TV, go and click on that subscribe button and click on the notification bell so you can find out all the times we go live. And, of course, the next time that we're going to go live, it's going to be next week. It's going to be Monday night, December 12th. As we've got the season finale for the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge, and we're going to be at the National Park of Speed, Road America. And Larry, with the 2023 season 21 changes coming in tonight, that's going to give all of our and there are some big changes coming in GT3, tire model, suspension, damage model, you name it. It's gonna be a very tough week for our GT3 drivers to get ready.
Got 1 week to get ready. It should be fun.
That's it. It's gonna be our GT3 racers and our TCR racers from Road America for a 75-minute battle to the checkered flag for the final round of season, I forgot what season it is, but I think it's season 5, but it's going to be the end of the season. Next up then is going to be the Ricmotech Sports Car Series, going to return January 9th. So we're going to have a couple weeks off for the holidays and for the new year. But the Sports Car Series is going to start up on Monday night, January 9th at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. Those are our GT4 and TCR cars. And then the Classic Sprint Series is going to be back in May. You'll have to stick around, see if it's MX-5s, if it's GR86 Cup cars, if it's a combination of the above.
I think it might be both, but we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be awesome. Definitely be ready for that.
Yeah, so that'll be on May Day. Come by May 1st, 2023. Don't know where it's going to be yet, what track it's going to be at, but I guarantee you it's going to be a great battle. All right, so for Lefty Larry McLeod, for the two Johns, John Grabowski and John Robertson, I'm Greg Ginsburg, and we'll see you next Monday night from the National Park of Speed. Have a great week, everybody.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.